So in the last year or two, there's been a lot of emphasis on what we like to call cherry picking. All right, in the coin game, everybody knows what cherry picking is, but the idea that you could cherry pick a raw coin anywhere, all right, it doesn't matter where it's at, whether it's going to a coin shop, finding something that is raw and ungraded. Okay, because that's where kind of like everything starts. And then really identifying on whether or not there's some sort of opportunity to make money. And this is what a lot of people are doing. This is, it kind of been a very good supplemental type of income for a lot of people, I would say, especially in the last year or two during the pandemic and as we're exiting. This is not going to change, largely in part because the money is just so good in numismatics right now. While other things in the world are kind of, going to the crapper, we're beginning to see, not beginning, but we're continuously seeing this adaptation to investing in things like coins and precious metals and all that. The biggest kind of cherry on the top for the hobby, for a lot of people that want to make it a really good living, is the grading process. Again, finding that coin that's raw, maybe the dealer that you cherry picked a coin from, or on eBay. eBay is kind of like the main central nucleus of where a lot of people, young and old, who just doesn't know how to sell stuff, they go to eBay, and that's where they gain a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the research, how much these coins have sold for, how much other people are asking for it, the different types of errors and varieties out there, and how much those are going for. This is the central nucleus to the e-commerce system today in 2022. Prove me wrong, all right? Now, there's going to be other different tiers that's kind of pop in and try and take a little bit of the lion's share that eBay has kind of represented over the course of the last 20 years. But as of right now, they are the undisputed king of e-commerce. As far as comparing it to Amazon and Shopify and all that, I mean, those are good platforms. But when it comes to coins and currency, eBay is the central nucleus. And again, prove me wrong. You're not going to find nearly the volume of coins of every rarity, of every grade and condition that you are on eBay. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that people want to do right, but ultimately end up crashing and burning huge. And this is something, sorry, my camera's a little bit, you're like, oh yeah, this Blue Ridge is falling off a cliff over here. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So, I haven't personally identified this as an issue today, but this is something that's been ongoing over the course of the last 5 to 10 years. And there's a lot of places that you could lay blame to, but really a lot of it is just a lack of self-education when it comes to the coins and the series, what's hot now, what's cold later. But ultimately, the grading process, if you don't know how to grade coins and identify photography that's either legit or not, you're ultimately going to fail. Now, we all take our licks, especially if you grade coins at a much higher, deeper level than most people would ever imagine. You send out a lot of coins, you really invest a lot of money into this because you do put a lot of money into it to get back a lot more, okay? So you're spending money to make money. You've heard that age-old adage in business before. And even in 2022, it still holds true the same way that it did 50 years ago, where, you had to pay tens of thousands of dollars for your own advertising. And that's why I love eBay, is because advertising is mixed in to the very small fees that they charge you to sell on their platform. The one item that you list will have the potential to gain the attention of tens of thousands, if not millions of people around the globe. So that's why I like this platform and I like to use it for this particular exercise. So as you can see right down this list here, this is what people hope to envision when they're out trying to cherry pick coins, grade them, and then sell them on the secondary market. Okay, you spend, say, and it sounds like a lot, you spend $5 for a coin that's raw, and then you go and grade it, but you could realize things like $61,000 for an 1889 Carson City Morgan. And for this particular kind of exercise, we're going to focus on Morgan dollars, but this same principle applies to any type of coin series, any denomination, or series. I already said series, so yeah, you're getting it, you know, it's so nice you have to say it twice. So the same principle holds true across all different types of coins. But Morgan dollars is easy to understand. It's one of the most popular big-sized silver coins in collecting today. But just go ahead and take a look down the list. Now all of these price dollar figures are in green, which means these have sold. These are realized sales from the last 90 days. 1893S Morgan dollar, AU details. All right, what's AU details? That means it's been cleaned. Maybe there's a scratch on it. That's how PCGS and NGC designates details, is that there's something wrong with the coin. But take a look at how much it sold for, $27,500. Now, you can't tell me when you go to look for a coin like this, let's say at a coin shop or maybe online on eBay, even if it's clean, especially for a high-profile key date like the 93S, let's say, for instance, someone had this for sale for $8,000. It only sounds like a big risk because it's a high dollar value. But we all kind of have to build there, you know? If you're a beginner to grading and you want to do this as either a part-time job to make great extra side money, a little side hustle, you know? Or if you will completely scrap your current job, and you're probably making damn good money at your current job, you could substitute this in as your job, all right? And you can make a ton of money. If managed correctly and properly, you could do really good. So, you know, let's say this coin was purchased for $8,000. You know, that's something that you're going to have to take into consideration. You're going to have to risk a little bit of money. Now, if the coin looks like it's AU or maybe a low-grade mint state condition coin, you might want to take a flyer on it. The good news is, with eBay, there's always a way to return the coin. And that has, the amount of money that it costs to return a coin is very small compared to being stuck with it. So if you went to a coin shop and you saw the same coin for $8,000, but it turned out to be fake, there's no way that you could return it. Effectively, there's no really good way to return it. So, there is a lot of money to be made in coins today by simply buying raw coins, grading them, flipping them. And you're going to get into a pattern and a rhythm where you're going to build up the profit, all right, minus the cost that's associated with buying the coin and grading and shipping. You take all that stuff out and then you're left with the net profit. That's what's left over. You're going to take that, put it in its own separate bucket, and then you're going to be able to recirculate that money and continuously buy from coin shows, from shops. You're going to look, on social media for people selling like collections. Say, hey, this is my dad's, collection of Morgan dollars, and I'm interested in selling it, but they're all raw. This is all kind of like really big opportunities. There should be dollar signs each and every single time you see a raw coin, because it represents an opportunity for each and every single one of you to really pounce and make a difference here. But, you spend $8,000 so that way you could profit 15. Heck, that's a pretty good deal right there. But, it's not just the key dates, ladies and gentlemen. It's other dates as well. Okay, where the rubber meets the road is going to be the grade. Where does the grade sit at? Is it going to be more toward the top pop, or is it going to be at a numerical grade where it's going to greatly enhance the value? Let's say you know, and let's use this 1897-0 as an example, which it's a semi-tough grade, but it's not an 1893S. All right, imagine finding something like that for $800 at a local coin shop, and it looks really good. Now, if it comes back BU details, you still have a very valuable coin, guys. A coin that I would imagine would be worth about $2,000 to $3,000. Okay, that's a pretty good amount of change right there. But there's going to be a certain grade level where it goes from really good to outrageously expensive. All right, that's kind of that line drawn in the sand where things get really, really scarce and rare. Let's use this 1897-0 as an example. Okay, in a mid-state 63, let's say it's $3,000. In mid-state 64, it jumps up to $15K or $16,200 in this particular example. That's the grade that you want to hit. There's nothing wrong with that 63. That represents a true safety net. If you've heard me allude to what a safety net is before. If the safety net's not there and you can't make money off of your target grade, then you shouldn't have any business buying it in the first place. But you know, there's going to be certain areas within, you know, the grade and population of that coin where if you hit it, you hit the sweet spot, you're gonna be rolling in fat dough. All right. But there's a lot of dates in here. 1886-0, not necessarily like one of your most scarce estates. In mid-state condition, it's kind of tough. I think this is like a $2,000 coin in like mid-state 61, 62. So if you're able to find one of these out in the wild, you know, it catches you by surprise and they're asking like $500 for it. Heck, that's a heck of a deal right there. 1894, 1879S, reverse of 1878. Again, that's being able to familiarize yourself with the different types of varieties and transitionals that exist in the series. You know, there's the 7-tail feather, 8-tail feather, 1878s. You got to know these things. But look, mid-state 65 isn't necessarily like a non-obtainable grade in Morgan dollars. That's like really kind of like middle of the road. Any other date other than the 79S reverse of 1878, where you're talking about a $200 to $300 coin in mid-state 65, if that. So again, there's money to be made everywhere. You don't necessarily have to hit to the moon, but if you can make $100 to $200 per coin after fees and grading and buying the coin, that's ultimately how you want to get started. And that's why I tell folks, if you're looking to get into the business of cherry picking and grading and flipping, you can certainly do that on a budget of about $1,000 or less. All right. But as you can see, the money is just flowing all over the place. Now, here's the mistake that people kind of, and you've heard me probably kind of touch on it a little bit, when they're out shopping for raw coins. All right, there's a few things that's happening. They're not taking the listings seriously enough. They're not really taking the photos in these listings seriously enough either. You know, and you have to be a stickler for details when you do this. Don't be afraid to pass up 20 really good looking coins so that way you could get that number 21 in the bag. Okay, they call it blackjack, baby. And that's the score that you want to hit when you're doing this. Like, you'll avoid these first four. One's already graded. This is a 21-0. That's a brand new US Mint issue from last year. And then you have these bogus kind of like Gem BU in a roll, you know, come by it. And then you get just some random date. You don't know what the grade's going to be, but more than likely it's going to be a grade where you're not going to make any money. So where you want to target are going to be the singular coin listings. Okay, as long as the pictures are good, this is going to give you a world of information that you need to make a good buying decision. I think I looked down here through a few coins. The first coin that really caught my eye is going to be this 1881S for a number of reasons. The coin has a great photography image. It's clear, crisp. We're able to get some information on this picture. And yeah, granted, it's an incredibly common date. But where do we need to be on an 1881S to where we can make money? So this is the coin that we're considering, and thankfully you could get in close. Now, there's things that you're going to pay attention to, right? Because if you've honed in on your grading acumen, all the mid-state grade levels, even dipping down to like about uncirculated in certain occasions, you're going to know what needs to be clean enough on the coin for you to consider it. Take a look at this coin. While I'm not necessarily zooming in on it, you can tell the coin looks really good. Okay, this is what they call with the naked eye. That's what this looks like. We're going to forget the fact that this one is a Dutch auction and they're just selling like a bunch of these singular coins. But let's say if it's just a singular coin that they're selling, that they actually own, okay, this is not representative, by the way, of the coin that you're going to receive. Some are going to have a lot more chatter and bag marks, but you notice that the cheek is, I like to call it medium. It has more chatter than I'd like to see on a coin that may grade 63 or 64. Okay, see the fields in front of Liberty's face? It's a little bit too busy with these little nicks and marks. All right, so there's going to be areas on the coin that's going to draw the eye's attention a lot more to the cleanliness of the coin. The very broad cheek that you see on Lady Liberty's face, along with all of the flat field areas around the coin, and probably to a little bit lesser extent, the rim. If the rim is all chewed up and beat up, then that's probably a coin that you want to avoid. But, you know, you're looking at $87, which doesn't seem like a whole lot of money. If anything, you're getting a decent coin for $87. But these have all gone up in value. It used to be you could pick something like this up for 35 to 40 bucks. You probably still can, but a lot of the coins that you see on eBay that are buy it now type of listings are all like 80 to 100 bucks. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, so here's what people are not really taking into consideration. What's the population count? How much is the values across the numerical board for an 1881S? So we're going to check out the price guide first and foremost. Well, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through. I'm giving you guys the tools that you need to be successful at this, and you could try it. The cool thing about this is you're not buying something that's $100 and it all of a sudden is worth $10 the moment you walk out of the store. Okay, this is not just some lame consumer good. These are coins. They still have value, and you can still return these. 1881S. Now you're going to notice that there are mid-state PL and DMPL values across the board. Okay, there's proof-like and deep mirror proof-like. Okay, that's where you have the really nice mirrored fields where it's highly reflective. You can actually read a page of a book off of the coin's surface. That's how clean it is. But mid-state is where this one falls at because it has no proof reflective fields. It's not proof-like. When we go back to the coin, as you could tell, it's just a business strike mid-state coin. All right, but getting back here, okay, read the dollar figures across all the way till you get to the end. And then you'll understand where the grade of this particular example needs to be for you to make money, keeping in mind some sort of safety net in there. So if you're looking at an 1881S, at good for, you're at 36 bucks. That's kind of like the floor because at that point it's just really silver melt value. $38 and fine 12. XF40 is $47, so it's beginning to make this curve upwards. In AU55, as you can see, it doesn't go up a whole lot, although it's probably a decent looking coin. That's $57. Mid-State 63, $96. Mid-State 64, $155. 65 at $250, 375 at $66. Now the money's starting to get good. Mid-State 67 is $1,100, and then right off the edge of my screen share is $6,500 in Mid-State 68. So let's take into consideration, let's do a little basic math here. So you're looking at $87 for the coin. You're going to be looking at, and it's free shipping, so you don't have to worry about that here. You're gonna receive this coin, and it looks good enough that it's a grade high enough to consider a PCGS slab. So you're gonna pay what, $30 for the submission for this one singular coin. You're gonna pay for shipping of some kind. Now the idea is you're not sending off just one coin. You want to send off a batch of it, so that way the shipping is less of a burden on you as it is, you know, sending off just one coin, where you're still gonna pay, you know, that $12 to $20. If you're not doing registered mail, you probably don't want to do registered mail on one singular $80 Morgan dollar. Okay, so you add in, let's say we're gonna just use $12. Say you got 87. We're gonna add the 12. We're at $99. You're gonna add in $30 for the submission. We're at $129. And then you have to figure, okay, I'm going to receive this coin back. I'm going to sell it on eBay. Where do I need to be to make money? And don't do this if all you want to do is make 10 to 20 bucks a coin. That's not how this works. Grading submission takes time, all right? Time is equity to people in the business. You want to treat it as such. So if we're at $130 before we sell the coin back onto the market, where they're going to take 12.9% back, okay, that's going to be another, let's just say $15. You would need to kind of be somewhere between like 65 and 66 for it to be a worthwhile flip. $250, if you're able to grab a mid-state 65, doesn't necessarily mean you'll grab 250 bucks. These coins sell all over the place, and really, again, eye appeal is everything. There are certain mid-state 65s that look a lot better than some of the other ones. So people are willing to pay a little bit more of a premium because they think they could possibly send it in for a regrade. Or maybe that's the coin that they want to represent maybe a type collection or a Morgan collection. So there are certain like kind of frames of mind, a little bit of psychology that comes into play with this. But people really don't add the numbers correctly to figure out what their ultimate end game is going to be. And that's why a lot of people fail at this, is they don't take the time to take it seriously enough to treat it as kind of like a side business and doing the math. You would be surprised. People don't do the math very often. Especially the new folks getting into the game. They completely ignore the math part of this whole equation. And that is inherently wrong. And that's the type of thing that will ultimately lead to epic failure. Especially if you're sending out a bunch of coins and you're batch sending them by bulk submissions. Or maybe you're not even doing Morgan dollars at all. And you're trying to kind of ride the coattails of the hotness of the registry set, and you're sending in modern Lincoln cents from 1950s all the way up to 2022. Thinking that, oh, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and send 10 coins at $20 a pop on a bulk submission, and then one of them will come back at the highest grade level, and I could sell that one for $1,000. You can't think about it that way. And that's why I've always been an antagonist about grading modern coins, is that there's no safety net. But that is the very reason why people gravitate toward popular selling coins like Morgan dollars, Walking Liberty half dollars. Buffalo nickels is a popular one, even though it doesn't have silver. That's like an uber popular series. Mercury dimes, Standing Liberty quarters. And some of the earlier pieces from the 1800s and earlier. So use the calculations on the price guide and do some basic math. You find a coin that you really like, especially a coin that is being bid up organically, you need to know when to stop. Because if you continuously bid and bid and bid and bid, and that 1881S that maybe has a DMPL goes up to like $300-400, you're not going to make any money. You're going to lose. And you don't want to do that. Especially with your hard-earned money, you need to know the difference in the math here to make it, to have it all make sense. And then that's where, you know, if you really dig your heels in and you apply some of the things that I'm teaching you today in this video, you're going to be able to see $50, $100, $200, $500 gains off of each coin. And then you're going to take that profit and you're going to continuously recycle it back into finding bigger and better raw coins, because there's oodles of raw coins that are ungraded out there in the world today. And then new coins are continuously being introduced onto eBay that has been untouched and undiscovered for the longest time. People come across these old inheritances or estate sales or, you know, stuff that's been passed down to them. And the first easy place to gravitate towards is eBay. They're going to go on there and just list it. And it's like, we're going to go ahead and put it on for 7 days. Whatever it sells for, I'm good with. Just talk to some of the people that are on my live coin Q&A group. Okay, there's people that have made, especially Adam Chambers, who's the king at doing this, makes a lot of really good side money cherry picking coins, grading them, and then flipping them. There are instances where he's taken coins that he's paid $100 to $200 for and have made $1,000 to $3,000 on. And he does it, I would like to say, rather frequently in a course of a 12-month period. You can't be like that. He's not a guy that's been around the business for 15, 20 years, but he's been doing it long enough, a few years, that he knows how to approach the system. When you could do it, and you could do it effectively, and you could hold yourself accountable, and you kind of have your limitations, and you put that on yourself, then that's where the success comes in. You have to be a little bit, you have to pressure yourself into saying no sometimes. Or when that bid becomes way too high, you need to know when to say no and stop. And that's something that a lot of people have a hard time doing. And they get wrapped up in the emotions of the moment, the fear of missing out. Like, I really got to bid on this thing because I've never seen one more gorgeous than it. And this puppy ends up, a coin that should theoretically be only valued at about $200 to $300 ends up selling for $800 to $1,000. And there you go. I mean, what are you going to do? You can always ship the coin back and return it for whatever reason. You could do that. But that's money that comes out of the bottom line still, because you have to ship it back. You have to insure it on the return. So you do all these things correctly, and you can be successful doing this. But do not ignore the math. Do the math. Whip out a sheet of paper or a notepad. Do the math on each and every single coin transaction you do. Furthermore, before I let you guys go for the day, always keep an inventory checklist. All right, do an Excel spreadsheet. Do something. Do the accounting. Keep track of what your costs are for that one particular coin. Assign a stock number that's just some made-up alphanumeric code for your business or for your store, and apply that on there. Okay? Do it completely. Do it 100%. And I have no doubt that each and every single one of you can realize all this money that's available on here. Look at some of these common dates, guys. Carson cities. There are Carson cities that, you know, you could find proof likes and all that stuff still to this day in the original GSA holders that are ungraded that can make you a boatload of money. All right? But you need to know how to do it. And you need to do it correctly. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this one. It was a pleasure talking to you about this. I'm very impassioned when it comes to things of this nature. I mean, this is a really good way to apply a high dollar skill to your repertoire without having to go to college. There are people I know personally that makes tens of thousands of dollars doing stuff like this. They're even going out buying undergraded coins in current PCGS and NGC plastic, and then sending them in on a regrade and getting like a point or two higher and making a just absolute ton of cash on that one singular coin. And it happens more often than you think. So that's going to go ahead and do it, guys. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. If you guys have anything to address or comment on, go ahead and post them below. If you guys need help with any coin inquiries or anything of that nature, go ahead and send us an email, info@livecoinqa.com. We're there to, we have a panel to talk to you about your coins. Maybe you have something that is boggling you a little bit, you need to know a little bit more about. On the email, we don't talk about values that much, if ever, because that's not what we're about. But me personally, I'm all about improving people's lives by things like this, where you could simply sit down in the comfort of your home and make it happen. So I want you guys to make it happen. Think about what you want and go ahead and go for it. Don't be afraid, but ultimately don't take any shortcuts, because that's where a lot of people end up falling flat on their faces. That's going to go ahead and do it. I wish you guys best of luck. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you on the next coin video. So long, y'all.